The U.S. Postal Service had its humble beginnings by sending out 1 or 2 pieces of mail in its first month. So we think. Last month alone in 2021, it sent out 4.3 billion pieces.
And 14,000 of those pieces were from me. In this video, we're going to go through all the different parts of direct mail so that you can use it to start finding great deals. And we start right now. Hey there, friends. My name is Anson Young, and I have been in real estate for over 14 years. I've been flipping houses, wholetailing. I'm also a licensed real estate agent. And I also wrote this book,
Take 2, come on.
I also wrote this book, Finding and Funding Great Deals Out Through Our Friends at BiggerPockets. It gets you from zero to the closing table. And I don't care what you do with it after you're at the closing table. You can do whatever you want with it. It's your deal. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a discount code at the BiggerPockets bookstore for this book just for watching. Thanks for watching. Since you're right here on BiggerPockets YouTube channel, please give them a like and a subscribe. Hit the bell icon, click up there, check out their other videos. Look at Brandon's majestic beard. So they would love that, and I would absolutely love that too. Instead of just putting a pro tip right here, this is so important that I'm going to call it Anson's super awesome, great way for real estate investors to get good at direct mail and stuff. The number one rule of direct mail is that consistency is key. It's 100% the foundation of this type of marketing. I shouldn't have to tell you what direct mail is. It's actually just sending out letters in the mail and hoping to get a call back from a homeowner so that they want to sell. You get direct mail all the time. In fact, most of it ends up in your trash. So it's very passive. Send out mail, hope they like it, and they call you. What does that have to do with consistency? Well, my good friend Chris, who I used to work for, he had this sign over his phone and he made a lot of cold calls. And basically in sales, the more that you touch somebody, not in a weird way, the more that you're in front of somebody, the more chance that you have to be successful, to have a sale. In sales, we call those touches. Don't make it weird. But the more that you can touch somebody, be in front of them, and be on their radar, the more success that you'll have. The number 2 rule of direct mail is that if you aren't prepared to send at least 6 to 8 months worth of mail, don't even bother sending the first month. This ties right in with consistency. The magic really happens after the 4th touch and beyond. I like to think of direct mail as pushing a snowball downhill. The first few yards you won't have much to show for your effort, but the more that you can push that snowball and the further down the hill it gets, the more snow it accumulates, and pretty soon you have a giant avalanche at your back that you caused to go down the hill. And it's the same thing in direct mail. Patience is actually key number 3. Did I say rule or key? I don't even remember. But the third thing with direct mail is patience. You may not get anything in your first round or even your second round. You might get some calls. Of course, you're going to get the angry phone calls. How dare you mail me? Oh my goodness, how dare you? But consistency is key. And if you can be consistent and patient, you're going to win this game. When I think of direct mail, I break it into 3 sections. The first one is the targets, who we are sending mail to. The second one is the medium, what we are actually sending. The third one is the message, what we are saying on what we are sending. And in the last part of this video, I'm going to go through a totally real Q&A session where I talk more about direct mail and take some totally real questions from totally real people just like you. And in a future video, I'm going to talk about scaling and tracking your numbers, KPI, response rate, all that stuff. So if you think that I left that out of this video, you're right. Some of that has to do a little bit more about building your business, tracking your numbers, all that fun stuff. Part 1 is the targets. This is who we are actually sending the mail to. This is who we've selected in order to start. Hold on. Hello? What's that? Oh, we already covered that in episodes 3 and 4. Yeah, marketing lists and direct mail. That's who our targets are? Oh, okay. I guess we can skip that. Good to have someone have your back. All right, so part 1 is the medium. This is what we are sending out. This is the homeowner's first impression of you and your company. Whether you like it or not, they're going to judge you based on what you're sending. Is your mail actually standing out from everything inside their mailbox? Are they opening it? Are they liking what they're seeing? Different types of mail pieces have different response rates and, of course, different prices. So some of this will have to go back to you, your goals, and your budget. It all comes down to money at the end of the day, doesn't it? And there's no real one way to do this, which is kind of a problem. If there's just one way, I guess we'd all just be doing it. But there's no one way to do it. And it's really going to come down to the targets, the demographics, the type of properties that you're after, all kinds of factors into what you're sending out. Here are some of the things that I really like to consider when I'm sending out mail. So the first one is going to be the envelope. Is it colorful? Does it look like a business envelope? Does it have a window? Maybe there's a check peeking through. Does it look like another piece of junk mail, or does it look like an invitation? This could include bubble mailers, overnight envelopes. It could look like a birthday card from grandma. The second is the address. Is it handwritten or is it typewritten? Different people will respond to this in different ways. Obviously, a birthday card with a handwritten address is going to look like it came from grandma. If it's a birthday card that has a typewritten address, that might set off some alarm bells. Even the stamp. Is it a live stamp that you buy and lick and stick on there? Or is it a metered mail? You know, everything else that you get, that's an insurance letter or something like that. People pay attention. Even down to the return address. Is it a local address? People really do pay attention, and whether they admit it or not, they do care if you're a local company or if you're some fancy guy from New York City trying to buy up all the properties in whatever state. So even if you're an out-of-state investor, try to make the address local. How about the message itself? Is it handwritten? Is it typewritten? Different people, again, respond in different ways. Is your piece branded or is it anonymous? And by anonymous, I just mean, hey, I want to buy your house, call me Joe. You know, who's Joe? I don't know. Or branded, where it has your logo, your company address, your website, everything that looks like a legit branded letter. And then any extras, anything extra that you want to throw in there, maybe your business card, maybe a pen, make it some lumpy mail, as they used to say in the 80s. Throw in a pen, something that will get them to open the package. And the last thing I think about is the sequence. Since we are being consistent, we may not be sending out the same exact thing every month. So if it's in a sequence and this is third or fourth in the sequence, we already sent them a postcard, we already sent them a professional letter, maybe now we'll send them a handwritten letter and change up the medium a little bit so that they're not getting the same thing in their mailbox every single month and you look like a robot. That was the worst freaking robot. So what does this piece actually look like? There's the yellow letter, which is just handwritten on a yellow pad, and it's very informal and personalized. It looked like somebody sat down and wrote you a letter. Then there's the professional letter, which is put on letterhead and typically typewritten, something that you would get from a lawyer or maybe a very serious real estate agent. More if you're trying to build some credibility, this is the way to go. I like a hybrid letter, which is kind of a smaller letterhead that has handwriting on it, so it blends the two between being sort of informal, personalized, but also has this air of legitimacy here. At least I hope that's what it does. How about a postcard? This is more naked. You don't get the benefit of an envelope, and your message is right out there in the open, so make it a good one. Color helps. Sometimes pictures of the house, although that freaks people out, I'll tell you right now. So one of the new things that people are doing is putting Google Street View pictures of the house on the mailer somewhere, whether it's in a postcard, on the envelope, or inside in the mailer. And you always have to say that this is from Google Street View, otherwise you will get calls asking why you are stalking them and sitting in front of their house taking pictures. You could send a letter of intent or an offer. Just put it in a legal envelope and send it right to them. What's more serious than an offer in hand right to the seller? All kinds of different things that you can send that convey all kinds of different messages. Now, why does this matter? Because the medium is the delivery system for the message. You could have the best message in the entire world, but nobody might even see it if your mail is boring or they never open it. Which brings me to number 2. The message. No matter who you are targeting and what you are sending them, your message has to include 2 things. It has to have why you are contacting them and a call to action. Your message could be very informal and direct, or it could be very personal and go through a lot of the benefits of using a company like yours. It kind of looks like this diagram right here. From I buy houses, Anson, then my phone number, to Mr. Smith, I'm interested in purchasing the property at 123 Main Street, easy cash offer, no inspections or real estate agents. Call us for more information. Here's my phone number and my company name. I really like my message to be personal and actually include the seller's name and the address. Sometimes I'll reference the neighborhood with some education and benefits to the seller, and of course, a call to action. A call to action is as simple as this. You're telling the reader exactly what you want them to do. Call me today. Contact us for more information. Visit our website to find out more. Call us with any of your questions. Call us today. Pick up the phone right now. Call us. That kind of stuff. I mean, the whole point of this is to get them to call you so that they can potentially sell you their home. And before we move on, I have a pro tip. This pro tip is that marketers ruin everything. That means that when the yellow letter got very popular and everybody was sending it out, the actual response rate and effectiveness went way down. I've talked to homeowners who have looked at 20 yellow letters a week, and they are just confused why they're getting the same type of marketing with different people's names and phone numbers, and it's just diluted the whole thing. Marketers ruin everything, so be prepared to switch up your strategy and always be testing new items that your competition is not using, because eventually they will find out what you're using, then they'll copy you. You know, it happens. Here in part 3, we're going to go through questions from people just like you. Totally real and legitimate questions, absolutely. Shannon S. writes, Anson, what do you send out? Nice. I love this question. I personally like to live in this area of branded direct mail, so you can just cut out yellow letters completely, and the area between high quality and handcrafted mail. Since I'm in a capital city market, I need to stand out by looking professional and having a personalized touch. As I said before, I like to use people's names, their addresses, maybe a reference to the neighborhood, and educate the seller on using a service like mine. Think a small letterhead with handwritten message, or a professional letter with a handwritten PS. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Danny Mack writes, Hey Anson, how often should I send mail? Good question, Dan. Once a month, typically. Unless it's a longer burn type list, like maybe a tax lien list that's a long 2 or 3 year process, then I would probably just mail them once a quarter. But typically, every 30 days, you're hearing from me, whether you like it or not. Stacy Y writes, Yo, Anson, do I write or print these myself, or do I outsource it? Great question. This will depend on your volume and your budget. It all comes down to money at the end of the day, doesn't it? I used to handwrite all of my letters when I had 50 to 100 to write a week, but that's not very scalable, is it? So these days, I just pay a company to do all this work for me that is in line with my goals for my real estate company. So it matches my intended message and medium. Elliot S. writes, Mr. Young, do I send out the same letter over and over every month? No, Elliot, you don't. Well, I don't. You can. Do whatever you like. I like to sequence my letters varying the message and the medium, and I like the message to reference that I have sent them mail in the past. So 1 month a handwritten letter, the next month a postcard, the next month a trifold letter, something like that. Ryan D writes, Anson, what about response rate? I heard that certain types of mail get a bad response. Very true. Typically, a postcard would have a very low response rate, whereas if you had a nice catchy envelope with a personalized letter inside, your response rate will be much better. Chris S writes, but Anson, I know this one investor who sent out 1 round of mailing and got 2,349 deals. Yes, that is definitely the exception and not the rule. And while that number is definitely an exaggeration, I do know investors who have sent out 1 letter and gotten a crazy awesome deal. One, my friend in San Francisco, driving his kids to school, saw a burnt down house, sent 1 letter, got that deal and wholesaled it for a 6-figure profit. Another, a local friend of mine who sent 1 letter to a neighbor and got a $50,000 profit flip. So yes, it does happen, but you can't build your business around kind of this winning the lottery mentality, because they definitely won the lottery in some respects. In practice, it helps to focus on consistency. Thanks for joining me for Q&A time. If you want to submit any questions that are totally real and legit, please do so. Leave a comment down below. I try to read every single one of them, and sometimes I respond to every single one of them. All right, it is time for our action steps. Step 1. Start doing your homework. Plan out your budget, plan out what kind of medium and message that you want to send out, and plan a sequence so that you know what you're going to be sending out for the next 6 months. Number 2, just get started. Whether you have 50 to send out or 5,000, today is the day to get started. You might spend this weekend writing 50 letters to send out on Monday, or to get with the company that's going to send out your mail for you. But start today. And then part 3, which is a huge one, be patient. Consistency is the key to direct mail, and direct mail is a marathon that you're building your business upon and not a sprint. So as promised, here is the code for 20% off at the BiggerPockets bookstore for the book, Finding and Funding Great Deals. I hope you check it out. I hope you enjoy it. Put a lot of work into it. Make sure to check out the next video in the series, which is all about more direct-to-seller marketing. This is cold calling, texting, all kinds of other fun stuff. So make sure you check it out. As always, I'm Anson Young. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy direct mailing.